Descriptors like nerd and jock are overrated. I'd gladly date someone with different passions. What you want, like actually want, is to find someone who's decent, nice, avoid the evil and the crazy ones. Like, even you guys are like, nerd, date another nerd. That's BS. You're sorting people by the wrong priorities. Liking the same anime doesn't mean the person won't be a total psycho. That's a lot to unpack.
Okay, so I agree with the first part. You know, you want someone who's decent, you want somebody who's nice and not a total fucking, you know, creepy psycho. The nerd, that was literally just a question. Like, the nerd was like,
yeah, how do I get a girlfriend if I'm a nerd, or something to that effect?
Yeah, so that's why nerd was used. Like, I don't just go around calling people nerds, bro. Like,
right? And like, it is in this particular situation, it's literally just a term. It's just a term that was used in the article, and we just kind of went with it because we are also what you could consider to be nerds, and it's not like it's a negative thing. That just means that, you know, you are 10 toes down on whatever it is that you're into, like whether it's Dungeons and Dragons, gaming, anime, fucking football. And yes, I consider like people who are diehard football fans, those are absolutely fucking nerds, because they can go down the rabbit hole on the touchdowns, the scores, the positions, the plays. Like, when you know all that about a particular topic, you're a nerd, like, through and through.
Yeah, I just, you know, you can't really lump nerd in with one specific thing anymore. Like, maybe, I don't know, how long ago were we in high school?
We graduated
too
in 2012,
long. I'm not gonna
so it's been over a decade.
Like, why you gotta say that out loud, making me feel old? I mean, like, maybe back then, you know, when, especially when like D&D and anime and like LARPing and cosplay and all of that shit wasn't, you know,
wasn't as mainstream.
Mainstream.
As it is now.
Yeah. I was trying to think of another word besides mainstream, since I'm just using the wrong descriptors.
Yeah, apparently.
But yeah, maybe back then, you know, I'll be like, oh, she watches anime, dude, what a fucking geek or weirdo, and you know, I'm fucking weird. I'm weird. Yeah. It's fine, but you know, there's two different kinds of weird on this earth. There's like the good weird, like me, because I'm chill. I'm just kind of like really socially awkward, and I don't leave my house unless I absolutely have to.
Just be vibing, you know. Just
be vibing. Like, I don't, you know, I don't bother nobody. And then there's like creepy weird. Don't be creepy weird.
That are fucking, you know, cutting up rats and, you know, dissecting bugs and taking their legs off and shit. Like, yeah,
that's a sociopath. That might be a little bit further away from the weird I was going for.
But
I'm thinking of more like, you know, somebody, and I guess I'm going back into stereotypes here. Creepy weird, like, you know, I met this guy online, like, he's cool. You go out on that one date and you're not vibing. Like, you're not vibing. The vibes are off. And then he continues to essentially harass you.
Right.
And that could go both ways. It doesn't have to be a guy doing it. It could be a girl or really anybody. So, I'm sorry. The term nerd date another nerd, in my opinion, and we were just talking about this before this video started, like, if you have two people that are dating, and I'm going to change my analogy just a little bit. Like, you have one person who strictly eats Mexican food and does not eat anything else ever. And then another person who literally cannot eat Mexican food because it makes them sick. You see what I'm getting at here?
Literally. And, like, it's basically, we're saying, like, you know, if you're a nerd, you want to date another nerd, because the more common interest you have, the easier it's going to be for you two to get along and, like, spend time with each other. If you're on two separate wavelengths, it's going to be hard for y'all to even, you know, just have a normal day-to-day conversation without, like, clashing and butting heads and all that stuff. Not saying that two people who don't have interest can't be in a relationship, but the likelihood of you pulling it off is going to be significantly higher if you find someone that's into the same things that you're into. That's like just a basic fact about communication in general. Same goes with like making friends. Like, it's going to be a lot easier to be friends with someone if you share common interests versus someone who doesn't. Like, that's just, you know, an inherent thing about communicating as a whole.
Yeah, I should say, like, it's fine. Like, you guys don't have to be 10 toes down 100%. You know, I like this, you like the same thing, and everything that we like is exactly the same to vibe with that person. But, you know, some similar interests, I feel, are needed. You're not gonna vibe with somebody who, you know, wants to sit on their couch and smoke all day, and you want to go hiking. You're not gonna vibe with that person. It's just, you know.
Yeah, like, hell, literally just smoking in general. Like, if you're not a pothead and your significant other is, and they actually like that, they enjoy that lifestyle, and you don't, it's gonna create a lot of tension between you, versus if you both were potheads. That would just solve 90% of the problems right then and there, because it's like you both share that same interest. Now, we get what you're trying to say. Like, yes, assholes exist. Bad people exist in literally every walk of life. Just because you're a guy looking for a nerdy girl doesn't mean that nerdy girl is going to be a great person, because terrible people, they literally exist. Of course, you know, morals and being a good person, like, that's an inherent thing about a good relationship. Like, that's not specific to the type of person it is. Like, you kind of have to be a good person in order to have a healthy relationship. Like that shouldn't be something. That shouldn't be something that we have to explicitly state. Like, bro, of course you don't want to date an asshole, and yes, you can be a nerdy asshole. Even though I'm like, bro, pick a lane. Like, you can't be a nerd and be mean. Like, come on now, pick a struggle.
Right. Moreover, it really mostly matters what you define yourself as. And if you don't feel like you fall in any of those categories, that's cool. Like, you know.
Literally. All right.
We just want the good vibes. That's all we want.
Honestly. All right, the next one says, weird is a too soft of a word from what I've seen. And that kind of goes back to our earlier point. Like, yes, there are different levels to weird. Not every weird is a good weird.
No, it's truly not.
We just we just say, oh, sometimes we are kind of weird in our own little way, but it's only weird from like the outside looking in. Like, if somebody resonates with what you're into, then it's not going to be weird to them. Like how me and Faelin, we can just kind of geek out about like anime, like, you know, Dan Da Dan. That's pretty popular right now. But for someone who doesn't like anime, they're gonna be like, y'all are a bunch of fucking weirdos. But from me to her, from her to me, like, bro, we're just vibing.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. Your happiness is what matters. It doesn't matter what we're saying or what anybody else says. Your opinion is what matters the most to you.
Literally.
Like, take what we say with a grain of salt. We just on here having fun, y'all.
Oh yeah, like, we literally just found an article. We're like, bro, like, we can talk about that. Nah, I'm not even into anime, bro, and it don't work, on God. Plus, where I live, there's no geeky or nerdy girls. On God, bro, I'm dead then. I literally told you in the video, you have to go where the people are. Especially because we also live in the middle of nowhere. Like, our town is fucking tiny on the fucking wayside of North Carolina. Like, we don't live in fucking New York or Miami or none of the cool places like that. We live on a fucking wayside. So if we want to even find like-minded people, we have to go to conventions and meetups and stuff. You're probably gonna have to do the same.
Or VR chat. That's a good one. We've met quite a few people in there that are friends now.
Oh yeah, it can be good, but like
beware of the weird people.
there are bad people on all walks of life. So yeah, definitely still have your moral compass intact. Don't make it the end all be all. Be like, oh, she got a Naruto tattoo and I have a Naruto tattoo, so this has to work. It's like, not necessarily. Like, you still have to, like, you know, dig a little deeper, and your personality still has to check out.
Yeah, definitely don't go 10 toes deep with anybody before you get to know them, guys. Like, you know, take that time. There's no rush. Got plenty of time.
All right, the next one. Do you know why a lot of nerdy guys can't get nerdy women? 3 reasons. 1, they're already taken. 2, they have high standards. 3, they literally don't go outside. All right, first point, they're already taken. I mean, that is, again, one of those universal things. If they're not on the market, then move on.
Yeah, I mean, you can, well, actually, I mean, Matthew and I, we were friends for a few years before we ever got together. So, you know, there's always that chance that, you know, you, not necessarily turn into a homewrecker, but you just kind of hang out until the other guy's gone, and then you make your move. And then, you know, 6.5 years later, you get married.
That is very, very, very specific and like a in the right place at the right time kind of thing. Kind of like how me and my wife got together, because the girl I was dating and her crush ended up getting with each other, and we just kind of confided in each other and talked about that, and that's how we started to just talk on the regular. We became close. But that is another one of those like puzzle piece situations. Like, that is just like, it just so happened that my ex and your crush, like, they started dating. Like, that's like one of those, I don't know if the universe is giving me a sign, but I'm gonna take this as the universe giving me a sign.
Basically. Oh, and you know, it also I should mention I was engaged.
Ew.
To the other guy before.
I'm like,
man,
do I have
got together.
I don't have an emote for fucking disgust.
He doesn't have an I'm just saying, don't give up hope, you know.
2, they have high standards. Bro, if it's that chick that's got the Gojo tattoo that's saying like Gojo is my daddy or something like that, then yeah, bro, she might not be the one.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like
you can't compete with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Not only she got major Delulu, brother. I'm sorry.
And that's when you go from being weird to crazy. Like, when you develop a parasocial relationship with an anime character and you're basing your real life interactions with people on that anime character, then yeah, that's when shit gets a little strange. And it's like, yeah, if their standards are that high, then yeah, maybe also maybe that one's not the one for you.
Yeah, it's okay.
And 3, they don't go outside. Again, my original point. You have to go where the people are. Your knight in shining armor, 9 times out of 10, isn't just gonna fall into your lap. Even she had to go to Harris Teeter to find her husband.
And I do it again.
Literally.
Well, see, like, when you say they don't go outside, generally speaking, if you're an introverted person like me, if I don't have to leave the house, I'm not going to. But special occasions, like, you know, we plan a friend trip every year. I leave the house for that. Conventions, I leave the house for those. I also enjoy zoos and museums and like aquariums and stuff. You know, I do my research. I try to go places, you know, that are actually benefiting our animals and not killing them. Rest in peace, Steve Irwin. Love you. I'll just say, like, you kind of know if you're introverted, you're not really going outside on a daily basis. But like you said, go where the people are. Look up, you know, what's happening. You know, fucking Virginia has the Mothman Festival. I guarantee you're gonna find you a goth baddie out there somewhere.
There was so many.
I told you. Like, you gotta find out where they go.
so many. I'm like, I've never seen this many goths in one place, bro. Oh, and last but not least, it says, why did the algorithm recommend me this? I feel called out. I mean, are you a guy perhaps looking for a nerdy woman? Because if so, then like I said, you're gonna have to go where the people are. If you're into fucking Star Wars, you gotta go to the Star Wars conventions. If you're into comics, you gotta go to Comic-Con. For an anime, go to anime convention. Mm-hmm. If you're into furries, you gotta go to a furry convention. Well, not saying you have to, but like, it literally, the people you are looking for is in the name. Like, they're making
out
it
there,
easy for you.
Yeah, they're out there. You sometimes you have to do a bit of traveling to find them.
Literally, and
who knows? They could be like across the fucking ocean for all you know, and there's, you know, nothing wrong with long distance if it's done correctly.
Oh yeah. Now that's a whole different set and station, and we'll probably have to talk about, you know, actual like dating relationship mumbo jumbo nitty gritty long distance and all those layers. That'll be a whole nother set in a whole nother station.
That sounds like a lot of work I don't want to do.
All right. But for right now, we're gonna go ahead and close this.